All right, everyone. Do you remember the Nashville mass shooter, the one that was transgendered and decided to shoot up a Christian school? There was a manifesto that was penned by this individual, probably explaining exactly why those things happen. It should be released to the public. It's of public interest, I would say, to know what the motive was. I'm assuming that it wasn't amosexuality or something like that. I have a feeling that there was something else involved. But it won't be released to the public, and the reason may astound you. Yes, it's not because it would cause other attacks or something like that. Like, it's in the public's interest that this not be released because it's too compelling. It's like a Ted Kaczynski novel or something. It's too compelling and charismatic, and it'll cause copycat shootings. No, nothing like that. The reason why? Copyright law. Yes. A judge in this case, and this should be appealed, but presumptively it would go nowhere, ruled that effectively the victims' families own the copyright on the manifesto for unknown reasons. It's not exactly clear how that copyright would be established because there was never any, they didn't write it. The shooter wrote it, number one. And number two, it's like, can you just magically generate a copyright? Because I thought you had to file for things like that. The fact that you wrote something yourself, as far as official, like legally binding copyright law, okay, generally speaking, that's yours. It's your creation. But there are also legal filings that you go through to really like patent something or something like that. Copyright law, patent law, etc. But the manifesto can't be released because magically a copyright exists for people that did not write the actual material. We don't even, I think, know how long it is. I have a feeling, though, that that's just the cover story. That's basically them desperately scrambling for a way not to release it to the public. And so they couldn't say, well, it's not in the public's interest to know what the motive was, because quite clearly people ain't going to accept that. You can't just come out to the public and say, well, this is politically inconvenient at this time, and, because of the motives involved, because of what was said in there, etc. I have a feeling they're also covering for the school. I have a feeling that the Nashville shooter at some point was abused, and this led to psychological issues, and that's what predicated the shooting. I have a feeling that it was about that. I don't even necessarily think that it was religious animus. I know that a lot of people jump to that and say, well, the Nashville shooter just hated Christians, transphobia or something. I think there was something deeper than that. I don't think that was the reason for the shooting. I think it was abuse or perceived abuse related. There might have been parental issues involved or something like that. That would be awfully inconvenient for the left at this time. And we know that they control a lot of courts in the country. I think that's why they're blocking the release. But they had to scramble for a reason to block it. Oh, well, the family owns the copyright to this. Because their kids were killed, magically a copyright is generated on everything that the shooter actually ever produced. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. For instance, let's say that some author goes completely psycho. Let's say that Stephen King tomorrow decides to pop off, and he blows somebody's head off. Does that mean that the family of the person that he blew the head off of owns the stand? Well, no, that doesn't make any sense. It's inexplicable, the court's decision here. It is a cover-up of some sort. They don't want the manifesto released because they don't want the public knowing what's in the manifesto. That is quite clear. It's been clear this entire time, and I don't think we're ever going to get closure on it. Or maybe when we're old. 50 years from now, it probably won't be a problem. Well, the copyright lapses, 74 years from now or something. Okay, now it can be released to the public, right? Oh, wait, shit, sorry. We lost the USB drive that had the only copy on it. That'll probably be what happens, by the way. You'll have conspiracy theorists and deep divers doing deep dives, 74 years from now, and they'll find no information is still available on the subject. And it'll be quite obvious why that was the case, why the USB drive was lost, why the diary was lost, Ashley's diary, that was confiscated for a reason too, etc., etc., because it's politically inconvenient. It's been disappeared, effectively, and I'm not the least bit surprised at this decision. I'm just surprised at the methodology, legally speaking, by which they arrived at the conclusion that it couldn't be made public. By the way, if the victims' families own the copyright, I guess it's a collective copyright or something like that, can they release it? Are they allowed to obtain a copy and release it to the public? Does it require the consent of all involved parties or just one? Does it require that a party that doesn't have the consent of another buy them out? Do they have to pay money to buy the copyright of the Nashville shooting manifesto? It's not entirely clear. Again, I can't imagine a single legal scenario in which this would hold up under actual legal scrutiny. It's just it's part of a wider cover-up. It doesn't even make any sense. How can you gain the copyright to someone else's private writings that are pertinent to public interest, number one, and a legal investigation, number two, so it's evidentiary in nature? I mean, you can't profit off of it. I mean, can you distribute it? Can the family get a copy at the very least? Can they read the manifesto and release it? I don't know. It's completely up in the air, it seems, at this time. That's about all. Peace out.